As we move on to our next story, in what's being called the most significant reset in UK-EU relations since Brexit, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced a wide-ranging agreement with the European Union, focusing on trade, defence and smoother travels. Describing the deal as a win-win, Starmer says British holidaymakers will soon be able to use e-gates across the EU, a move aimed at ending long queues at border control. Food and drink exports will also face fewer checks, reducing post-Brexit red tape for businesses. Let us listen in to what Keir Starmer has said.
Today we have struck this landmark deal with the EU, a new partnership between an independent Britain and our allies in Europe. This is the first UK-EU summit. It marks a new era in our relationship. And this deal is a win-win. It delivers what the British public voted for last year. It gives us unprecedented access to the EU market, the best of any country outside of the EU or EFTA, all while sticking to the red lines in our manifesto about not rejoining the single market, the customs union, and no return to freedom.
The Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch called this deal a sellout. Shortly after the details of the conference were announced, Badenoch said she was gobsmacked by the series of deals the Prime Minister has signed. One of the most controversial points was fishing. A new 12-year agreement keeps the current status quo, meaning EU boats can access UK waters until 2038. There's also a limited youth mobility scheme in the works, but Starmer ruled out rejoining the EU's single market, saying it's time to move past the old political battles of Brexit. This agreement comes amid rising geopolitical tensions, particularly Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, and represents a major pivot in Britain's future post-Brexit. We have guests joining us. Livon Hampertumian, former CEO and chairman of the management board of UniCredit Bull Bank, from Sofia, Bulgaria. My apologies for the pronunciation. Can you please emphasize how significant is this deal?
Pronunciation was fine. Everything's fine. In any case, I think that Britain and Europe are coming to much more pragmatic setup of relationships because the hopes of Brexit didn't realize the way they were promised by the protagonists of the Brexit. So we're coming now to something. No, of course, it's never going to be the same with full membership of European Union, but most of the important trade relations, travel relations, and so on is going to be rethought and upgraded to the better level of cooperation. Again, the role of London as a financial hub for Europe is still there. They lost a lot of business, but London is still probably the most important point around where you can do financial business.
And how did Trump's tariffs drive London and Brussels back to the table? Was the trade war the catalyst to this agreement?
I wouldn't say catalyst, but contributor, yes. Contributor, yes, because Europe and Britain realized that they cannot rely on the United States, the same way they were relying in the previous years. America today is much more transactional rather than ideological. And because of that, if we go transactional, we go transactional. Let's transact, which not necessarily involves America.
And does accepting EU oversight on food standards mean Britain is softening its Brexit take-back control pledge?
Most probably. Honestly, I don't know all the small details of that, but I believe that the new setup will be much more pragmatic. and much more business oriented rather than sticking to some regulations which or regulation of certain areas.
Okay. And how are markets and investors reacting to Treasury claims that the reset adds £9 billion to the UK economy by 2040?
Oh, definitely the reaction will be positive. Any type of commercial agreement which makes doing business easier and promises increased volumes and profits is well received by the markets.
And what about the joint defense procurement pact mean for NATO's power balance and Europe's push for strategic autonomy?
Yes. Of course, you cannot build a defense industry without rebuilding your base industry, because the part of the limitations from the Green Deal and so on and so forth were now abandoned. And Europe and Britain have to think about reindustrialization and actually the defense pact and the defense industry usually is the icing on the cake of the industry, if I might say that. But definitely it's going to happen. And again, to some extent, this is provoked by the fact that America is not anymore that reliable like the era before Trump.
And can Prime Minister Keir Starmer sell this reset to voters without igniting a new Brexit culture war?
Well, that's $1 million question, honestly. I hope yes.
And could this tailored access deal open the door to more sector-by-sector pacts, or will Brussels slam the gate on further cherry-picking?
Oh no, definitely Brussels have also the advantages are for the both sides. So Brussels and London are going to getting more and more integration with each other. Probably we will have something similar to the situation of, I'd say, Switzerland, which is in the middle of Europe. They're not part of European Union, not part of European Eurozone, but still very well integrated with good commercial relations and so on. So it's quite normal to have improvement of relationship, both political and economical and military, between Eurozone and between European Union and UK.
Thank you so much, Dr. Levon Hampertsumian, for joining us. And well, that's all we have time for. We will continue to bring more news updates from around the world.